Well, Hawks fans, my fellow Hawks fans, we did not know this about the Atlanta Hawks until now. Something brewing in Atlanta, something big in Atlanta. Keeping that optionality available behind the scenes, still working, is Onsi Saleh. And I have a report right now to bring to you guys to inform you that this guy is being very serious and is evolving around the last spot on the Atlanta Hawks. Welcome back to Hawks Digest. I am Chris Tipmore. Hey Hawks twins, how y'all feeling? Take off your shoes, leave on your socks, and we're going to get into this report in a few moments. Not gonna lie to you, personally, I feel like these last few videos of mine have been pretty rough. Definitely could have been better. Time for me to lock in. I owe that to y'all and myself. So let's get into this report. Before I do, you know I gotta welcome everybody back who is subscribed to Hawks Digest. Thank you to each and every last one of y'all making us one of your first listens when you need that Hawks content. And if you're not subscribed, if it's your first time, you're passing by, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can make sure you can come on back and be a part of the Hawks Digest family. As no matter how big and how small, we love to cover it all right here at Hawks Digest. Okay, so first things first. Now, we know that our great barrier thief Dyson Daniels should have been the defensive player of the year. But I have a report from NBA insider Jeff Fisher, and he is reporting that the Atlanta Hawks, before Marcus Smart agreed to that buyout with Washington and signed with the Los Angeles Lakers, the Wizards had a ton of trade discussions about the former defensive player of the year. Fisher would go on and say the Bucks, the Hawks, and the Heat were all teams who spoke to the Wizards about possibly deals involving Marcus Smart. So Onsi Saleh still trying to add more depth, still trying to add more veteran pieces, just guys that know how to win. That's what it was sounding like to me. He's looking for guys that knows how to win, and that would have been a big upgrade, honestly. Definitely at the guard position. Can you imagine having Marcus Smart, Dyson Daniels on the floor at the same time, possibly even Nall in a small lineup? Man, that's tough. That's tough right there to go after. But, of course, that will not happen because the Los Angeles Lakers have Marcus Smart. You know, sometimes the richer franchises get richer. It kind of happens like that. It is what it is, though. But I salute Onsi Saleh for even going after this. And we did not know this about the Atlanta Hawks until now. But he always said, so to keep that options open, that optionality. He likes the roster, but you always be looking to add the right pieces at the right time. Love that, and that's what he was trying to do, Hawks fans. So it was a swing and a miss, but at the end of the day, you still got to go for the swing. You always miss the shots that you do not take. So let's get more into part two. That was just the appetizer, if you will. Let's get into the main course. And the main course is surrounding around this gentleman right here, Precious Achiuwa. Precious Achiuwa is a free agent right now, and he could be the perfect free agent for the Atlanta Hawks. This could be absolutely perfect because you wouldn't need him to do much off the bench. He's 25 years old, combo guard, still remains unsigned on the market, still considered a versatile defender, and the Hawks always need depth. Now, as far as this guy, for me, Precious Achiuwa, he's a switchable defender. He's also one of those guys that you could see him switching on in the pick and rolls, switching to try to help with the guards. I believe that this would give Quin Snyder just a little bit more flexibility if he chose to, especially if he wanted to throw out a small lineup. Because Precious Achiuwa, him and Onyeka Okongwu are like about the same size, same height, about rolling about 6'8", 6'11" wingspan, so they're around in the same boat. But also, you think about it, he also would be a somewhat insurance policy as well if something were to happen, God forbid, to KP or Double O. Because if anything happens to either one of those two guys, it's Mo G we have as the backup, but he could add some depth to this. He's an athletic, like I said, versatile big. brings that energy. He has that motor, that hustle, and you think about him in transition. He will also try to crash the board some. In transition, he will be able to run out because so you know that Trae and will be able to feed him the ball in transition. And plus, we are one of the best transition teams. You know, we played to up tempo, one of the best tempo teams in the NBA of last year, and we still looking for guys who can still run the floor. Can definitely, like I said, off the bench, of course, no starter minutes, but like I said, that versatility, and he still has upside being on the 25, showing some flashes for trying to expand his game. He'll occasionally hit some open threes, streaky, yes, but can also take some slower bigs off the dribble on the perimeter. Still growing as a decision maker, but you think about it, he's always been coached well. He's played for Coach Spoelstra. He's played for Tibbs. He's played for Nick Nurse. And all those guys have something in common. They all have teams that play at a high level. You have a couple of guys that have rings. So he's always at least been coached well. And that it would be something that Coach Snyder could use too. Maybe there's room to unlock more. Maybe Quin could do it. Who knows? He does have offensive limitations though. Only like a 31% 3-point shooter. But overall, free throw shooting, nah, it's not like that. I mean, it's better than Clint Capella's, but I mean, it's still like at 62. And Clint Capella had a better post game for what it's worth because he has a limited post game. Don't want to mention Clint like I'm trying to compare him to him or anything, but he doesn't really space the floor like that. At the end of the day, we do have guys like Kyle Korver and our coaching staff have been able to improve guys' 3-point shooting, like we did with DeJounte Murray. He had some of his best career 3-point shooting percentages while he was in Atlanta. So we could possibly get more out of him. That goes back to what I just said about Quin Snyder, but he has to be consistent with his IQ and his discipline too. Now I'm not saying he makes bad fouls because I actually think he goes up pretty vertical, and has the ability to escape a foul, but just by backing up, moving his feet, and jumping straight up, but also having enough space not to draw the foul. I've seen him do that on many plays actually, and that's not easy for a big to do. And it's great that he can pick that up kind of early, but his decision making is still not all the way there, and I believe sometimes he has kind of like tunnel vision. Of course, he's undersized. We already have undersized bigs on the roster. So it's just like, okay, do you want to add another one? You possibly could, because I mean, he still would be a backup role. I think, honestly, again, he would be an insurance policy, energy guy off the bench. You're not going to give him heavy minutes, but he is able to be switch heavy. Definitely in small ball units, the versatility is always needed. The depth is always needed. At the end, it would be a low cost because I believe you can offer him like a veteran minimum at this point. He's just out there just chilling. There's no one really, I'm not saying necessarily saying checking for him, but right now he still is a guy out there that is not a floor spacer, not necessarily the best player, for that, but he can fill a lot of holes, a lot of gaps. I'm just thinking about the depth piece that he possibly could be. I mean, it's just, again, I'm not saying major minutes, Hawks fans, or anything. Just depth piece, insurance policy, a guy that you can have at the end of the bench that wouldn't cost you nothing. So I do actually agree with this article that fan side made about Precious Achiuwa being the perfect fit for the Atlanta Hawks. But I also got something else for these guys just about that. I'm going to mention a name. I'm just going to throw him out here. Why not DeAndre Jordan? He's still out there, 36, 6'11", so he's already tall. Used to being the veteran backup center on the deep bench. Of course, former champion. So, rebound and still a lob threat. Limited minutes. Again, you don't need to give him major minutes. Still at lob threat, so Trae will still have another guy that he could pick and roll with and get to the rim. Definitely a locker room leader. Also can still provide a little bit of energy and rim protection, but just in spot duty. You know what I'm saying? You just got to give them spot minutes. A little bit of oppos. Again, I'm not trying to give these guys major minutes. The Atlanta Hawks have 17 players on the roster right now, including Caleb Houston, who we just recently acquired too, including the three guys on two-way deals. So we still have one option left. You could add another big. You tried to go after Marcus Smart, good pull, but we didn't get that. Why not Precious Achiuwa? Why not DeAndre Jordan? Just shoot Kai. I'm not sure if Kai Jones is still out there. Just another big, and you can have at the end of the bench as an insurance policy. If anyone gets hurt, God forbid, but you just got to prepare for the worst before the worst happens. So limited minutes for these guys. Of course, DeAndre Jordan, we already know he's an older veteran. He's long in the tooth, limited mobility. Of course, he's declining laterally. Of course, he doesn't space the floor. He doesn't shoot. He's not strictly for drop coverage type stuff. The only way he makes sense, like I said, is for emergency bigs, locker room, having a guy that can, move his weight around in the paint, not going to get bullied at all. So mentorship is as well. You think about that for young Onyeka Okongwu, young Moji, having a guy in the locker room like DeAndre Jordan, former champion, would be. Also, he could help KP too. I mean, like I said, take a little pressure off of him too in spot minutes. So I'm just bringing some guys to the attention because, again, like I said at the beginning, we did not notice about the Atlanta Hawks still trying to add to pieces, veteran pieces. Tried for Marcus Smart, didn't get him. Precious Achiuwa is still out there, DeAndre Jordan, other guys that you possibly could bring in to fill that 8-team spot. And you can go into the season with more depth and having more versatility, giving yourself an even better shot. So that's all I'm saying, Hawks fans. But that's all I got for you right now, man. Thank you guys for always tuning in and having my back. I really appreciate you, each and every last one of you guys. Peace and blessings to you all. Positive energy always creates elevation. And that's how you find your peace. Until next time,